Thank you for joining me today. It's Brian Gubernick, and welcome to the No Days Off podcast, where we believe that every single day brings a new opportunity to get better. There is a question that I think every business owner, every leader, every parent, every high performer needs to ask. And that question is, what am I tolerating simply because I can afford to? What am I tolerating simply because I can afford to? I think that question will expose more than most any goal setting exercise that you do ever will accomplish. And here's why. I think most of the time, the thing slowing you down is not invisible. You know exactly what it is. It's probably that meeting that everyone in your organization hates, or it's the client who drains your team. It's the employee that your people tend to work around. It's the calendar you complain about, but then you never clean it up. Maybe it's the health habit that you keep managing instead of fixing. Lastly, it could be the conversation that you just keep avoiding. All of that is known as drag. It's all called drag. And it's something that I had an opportunity to speak with my Metrics Masterminds group about in detail last week. And in going around the room, I recognized that every single high achiever in that room had some degree of drag that was pulling their business back versus eliminating that drag and accelerating the path forward. See, drag is tolerated friction. It is really anything you have accepted as normal, but it's quietly costing you money or energy, speed, focus, health, peace, growth. And here's the dangerous part about this. Successful people, in my experience, they can tolerate dysfunction longer than most people can. See, when you're broke, just call it what it is, when your business is not profitable, drag gets exposed very quickly because you can see a bad expense. It really stands out. You could see a bad client. That bad client hurts. A bad hire really hurts. Bad habits hurt. You have to deal with it because you can't afford not to. But when you are successful, you can subsidize the problem. You can keep the bad meeting because the business is still doing okay. It's still making money. You can keep the underperformer in your world because the team is still surviving. You can maybe keep the client that's draining everybody because revenue's still coming in. And see, that sounds like strength, but it can actually be a trap. It can become a trap. Your success starts paying the bill for your drag. And drag always, always, always sends an invoice. It sends an invoice in profit. It sends an invoice in energy, an invoice in speed, an invoice in team morale. It sends an invoice in family presence or an invoice in health. And most people do not remove drag because they've actually never priced it. So if you back up, let's say you hear what I'm saying, you believe in what I'm saying, and a lot of us the drag shows up in some meetings, right? Meetings that we know we don't really need to the extent we're holding them. Take a meeting that runs, say, 90 minutes every week, and that meeting has 9 people in the room. So it's 90 minutes every week, 9 people. That's 13 and a half hours that are spent on that meeting when you sum it all up. If you say it's a $75 per hour cost per person, which is probably low, but let's just use that math. We're going to assign $75 an hour per person. That means that one meeting, the one that I'm describing here, it costs over $1,000 a week. Across the year, that's probably $50,000 just from one meeting that you're holding every week that you know you probably don't need to be holding. Now count the others, the other drag components showing up in your business. Count the recurring conversations. Count the cleanup after the same employee that makes the same mistake over and over again. Count the emotional recovery after the same client blows up your team. Count the opportunities that never happen because your calendar is so jammed up with things you should have probably killed a year or two ago. That number is almost always bigger than you think. And when I ran this exercise in the room of high performers last week at Metrics, I heard astronomical figures. I actually had someone tell me drag was costing them $1.8 million per year when you math something out in his business. It's pretty crazy. Now, drag tends to show up in three places. First, there's business drag. Business drag, that's the bad meetings and the problem clients and the low margin offers. It's the slow decisions. It's the lack of clarity around certain roles. It's too many priorities. It's aging systems, maybe anchoring to something that no longer serves you. So the first place is in business drag. The second is people drag. People drag, that's the toxic high performer, for instance. That's the employee you have to constantly manage. That's the partner tension you may have that you never do anything about. Now, the third type of drag is personal drag. Your personal drag, sleep debt, maybe having a couple too many drinks each week, maybe no training rhythm, maybe some tension in your home life or your marriage, your calendar clutter, the lack of thinking time, the always on availability. This is personal drag. Now, the issue is not that all drag can be eliminated. Some drag is just part of the mission. Some stress is probably worth carrying. Some hard things are chosen on purpose. But there is a big difference between what I would call chosen difficulty and this unconscious tolerance I'm describing. Choosing difficulty happens to build you, but unconscious tolerance drains you. So here's the exercise I want you to do this week. I want you to ask yourself, what is the one source of drag that would create the most immediate relief if it were gone? I don't want 20, 30, 50 things. I just want you to pick one component or one source of drag. Obviously, the biggest one would make the most sense here. And name that source of drag very clearly. Is it a meeting? Is it a person? Is it a client? Is it a habit? Is it a system? Is it a conversation you need to have? Then I want you to try to quantify that. Put a number on it. What does it cost every time it happens? What does it cost you every time it happens? How often does it happen? What is the annual, what I'm going to call drag tax? Then ask what it costs beyond money. What does it do to your energy and your focus and your team, your standards? Lastly, and most importantly, for sake of this exercise, choose the move. What do I mean when I say choose the move? Eliminate it, confront it, simplify that drag, delegate it, replace it, stop doing it, or accept it on purpose. And that's a really important one. Accept it on purpose. But stop pretending that drag is not there. Because in my experience, growth is not always about adding more. Sometimes the most strategic thing you could do is actually just subtract. Remove the thing, making the next level heavier than it needs to be. Your future probably does not need more ambition. It just likely needs a little less drag. That's all I have for you today, the No Days Off podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, every single day brings a new opportunity to get better. So let's get after it.